Welcome to this mini-series of the Smart Firefighting Podcast. Today, we're covering stories from outside Metro Fire Chiefs Conference in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where fire chiefs from the world's largest metros gathered. We had various sessions with drone experts to discuss drone hardware, software, and innovation ecosystem developments. Tulsa Fire Department and Oklahoma State University are spearheading some impressive new technology initiatives like drone as a first responder, and it was an honor to witness their cutting-edge efforts firsthand. Enjoy. We are here in the Tulsa Training Academy alongside Bryan King from Skydio. Bryan, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you today?
I'm doing well. No place else I'd rather be than Tulsa, Oklahoma.
100%.
So you're based out of Florida, is that right?
Yep, based in Palm Beach County. I've been there roughly about 20 years.
So from Florida, and now I hear you're spending a little bit of time in Tulsa. Like, why Tulsa? What's going on here in Tulsa?
A couple of moons ago, I came here for Oklahoma State University drone symposium, I guess you could call it, and had a chance to meet Gabe Graveline from Tulsa Fire Department. And we've since become not just professional friends and acquaintances, but we're actually personal friends. So we share a lot of information and talk about experiences, and it gets me back here every so often to come and experience what Tulsa Fire has to offer, what Tulsa PD, yesterday we were in Broken Arrow, getting all around the area here because, the Oklahoma ambitions to have technology a part of their either law enforcement or fire department is pretty strong. So it's good to come back here and get the experiences from the field.
Yeah, you can kind of just like smell it, sense it, feel it, that there's very big and top-down organizational support from the city side to the fire and law side and the industry side. And from a kind of Skydio's piece of the puzzle, tell me a little bit about kind of, high level kind of who, what, when, where, why Skydio, and then I want to dive into a little bit Skydio's role within Tulsa. But yeah, give me a little bit high level of who and what is Skydio?
Yeah, I mean, Skydio's been around. We just hit our 10-year anniversary. And I think Skydio has had the opportunity to learn a lot from the market. We are the new person on the street when it comes to drone manufacturing, and especially in U.S. made drones. We're one of the leaders, and so we've taken a lot of information, a lot of experiences, a lot of development from our team in California to get out in the field and understand what not just the drone operators need, but the leadership needs to make decisions and so on and so forth. And we're starting to see that, the hard work that a lot of these drone operators put in back in the day. When I say back in the day, maybe 5-6 years ago, maybe even more than that, it's starting to trickle up to the top because there's a lot of valuable aerial intelligence that comes out of these drones, be it fire, law enforcement, emergency management. They're really able to collect a lot of data to help them make decisions. And you're hearing that, like I said, from the top. Just yesterday, we're talking to a chief here in Tulsa Fire, and he was giving examples on how he wants to use drones. And then Gabe and I were talking about how we see it, and we're meeting in the middle, and there's some really cool ideas and concepts that are coming out. Yeah,
and it's evolved quite a bit from these just being these little drones that you could buy. I remember the first times I saw drones was in the stores at airports. You could buy those little, like, I forget exactly what brand it was, but buy those little drones.
Brookstone type drones,
Yeah. And then now it's kind of evolved to where these are not toys, they're tools.
Yes.
And a lot of it comes down to Mike O'Shea's famous line of what's on slide one, safety. It all comes down to safety and, again, how to continue to integrate these within public safety effectively and efficiently. How's Skydio continue to approach doing this evolution to public safety aviation, where it's not just, these aren't toys, these are tools with life-saving applications, and the utmost focus always comes back to safety. What's your hot take thoughts on that?
Officer and firefighter safety is number one always, and that's from the gear that they wear on their backs to the tools we can put in the sky, like the drones. Skydio has an extensive team that is out in the field, helping fire departments and police departments evaluate drones, use drones, capture the gaps, the misses in the technology so that we can go back and develop it. Because officer safety is number one. Getting that data to the important people so they can make decisions, so they don't have to send an officer, they don't have to send a firefighter, is really, really important. And the new product we have out, the X10, has really given us the ability to even take more data in and get it to the places we need to with our cellular connectivity, range-wise. All that stuff has really helped us open up a lot of avenues for a lot of agencies.
And so when I first heard about Skydio, learned about it, I know you've had a couple of product iterations. I remember the X2, and now we're onto the X10. It's sitting right there. I'd love to, if we could pull it up for our visual watchers here. But yeah, the X10. Tell me about what we're looking at here. What is it? And what are some of the nuances and features with it?
Yeah, I think it's important to tell the story of the X2, right? And in some cases, some people may not like the story or how it ends up or where it went. But anyways, the X2 was a platform that was developed, for public safety, for commercial use cases, and it had some limitations and had some constraints on it, but we were able to show agencies how to use them in certain conditions. And we had a lot of success stories with the X2. But all of that work in the X2 and all that work that agencies did using the X2 gave us feedback to build the X10. X10 has attachments, speakers, spotlight, has the ability to have nighttime autonomy, has 64 megapixels, 48 megapixels, 50 megapixels. We have 640 by 510 thermal from FLIR. Very modular. We have Skydio Extend to integrate with people like Airwise, integrate with people like GNext, or Live View for connectivity. All these different companies are knocking at the door because they want to integrate with Skydio, and we've opened that door now to be able to integrate and give complete solutions to all these agencies.
That's awesome. And I'm kind of looking on this right here of these two components. I mean, is this the speaker and a light, or what are these two attachments?
We've got spotlight here. We've got speaker mic on this side. On the top, you have this is IR Night Sense. So what this does, this illuminates the navigational cameras that Skydio developed to give the drone basically full autonomy while it's flying. So you have protection around the drone. So not just that in daytime, which was apparent with the X2. Now we have it with the nighttime.
So that's really enabling the obstacle avoidance
at night. Yes.
At night.
Yep. And it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. What a lot of our demos we'll do where we put the drone at about 4 feet on the ground, and we'll put it on the other side of a parking lot, on the other side of buildings, and we'll say, hey, come home at that height, that 4 feet. And it goes around trees and it goes around cars. And it really shows the autonomy that Skydio has put a lot of work into to make the drone safer to fly.
Yeah, it seems like you've done a good job listening to customers and translating that into the actual final product.
Yeah, and that never stops.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a new spring release coming out, and there's things built into that when X10 came out, they said, oh, it'd be great if we had this. Engineers said, okay, we'll make it happen. So, every 3 to 4 months, we put a drone out. Put a software release out that improves the drone, adds capabilities, and is really a testament to us listening to the customers.
Yeah. And so let's go deep into Tulsa. I was at the gathering point the other day, and Gabe put up the drone, and we saw the Skydio drone sitting on top of the gathering point, just waiting to be used. There's this evolving DFR program that's using Skydio here in Tulsa. Tell me more about, first, I'd love to hear your kind of definition of what is DFR, and then I'd love to kind of hear Skydio's involvement with the DFR initiative here in Tulsa.
Yeah, so DFR has been a lingering term for quite some time. There's been a handful of agencies that have really pushed the limits on it, and I applaud them because they've really helped the entire industry really move forward with it. The FAA has been great in listening and understanding. So DFR to me is number one, officer safety. Number two, cost effectiveness. And it's able to maybe not have to send an officer from an important place to an unimportant place. And I may be using terms there that don't know exactly what they're doing, but it's really like taking an officer out of an area and putting him in a different area as he's driving there, safety concerns, accidents, so on and so forth. There's a ton of things that DFR is going to reduce down. Is DFR going to happen overnight with a lot of agencies? Probably not. There's a lot you need to go through. There's a lot of practice and training and safety protocols and waivers from the FAA and everything you need to go through to get there. And the X10 actually has enabled the ability to do a little bit lesser version of it. We call it patrol-led DFR. So instead of having rooftop boxes or docks or VOs with the drone, you could, out of the trunk of the car, use cellular off of the X10. The officer on the ground launches it, and then somebody back at the Arctic takes control of that. And that way they're able to do a DFR type situation where the officer can go back to being the officer along with overwatch overhead.
And then translating that to Tulsa, where are we at here in Tulsa with this DFR program and Skydio? And tell me more about that.
So the Gathering Place is a really cool park. So if you ever have a chance to.
100-acre private park that's just got something for everyone.
Playgrounds, everything. It's really, really cool. So one of the things that's been happening there is it's along a river. And there's a lot of call outs along that river of people getting in the water, not being, the currents take them away, so on and so forth. So, but there's also times where people call in for potentially just somebody sitting in the water and they think they're drowning. So it's not really an emergency, but they still roll out a lot of people, right? They roll out a lot of gear. They roll out several trucks, so on and so forth. So again, going back to saving money and firefighter safety is the drone goes up, takes a look. As they're getting ready at the station, the drone can take a look, be like, hey, no, this is just an incident. Somebody just slipped and they're okay. We don't need to send out the full truck. We just send down a quad with a couple, paramedics. Cost savings is huge. These firefighters could be used someplace else if they needed to. So the drone's going to really help get the right people in the right places at the right time.
And as far as this kind of, it's May 2024, and it seems like it's getting closer. Where do you see? I mean, what kind of the next kind of milestones, and where do you see this drone DFR initiative within Tulsa the next 6 months to 6 years?
Yeah, I mean, I think near term, I think the doc is going to be able to prove out the concept. It's going to show value to the city and potentially bigger county, state, to where, a larger proof of concept would want to go out. And maybe it's a patrol-led, because you could do that today, right? You could do patrol-led DFR today. You don't have to have the rooftop stuff. So maybe you move into that phase next. And the doc out there is basically going to be the pathfinder to get to that point, right? So the doc is proving that out, showing the benefits and efficiency of having a DFR program. And then you move into a patrol-led. So you've got 10, 12 X10s out there in the trunk of cars, and they're doing it as well. And that as you progress through that, you're talking with the FAA, you're talking with the city, and you're looking at budgets, and you're looking at waivers. And 6 months to a year, things start to happen. And you're like, okay, budgets are there, waivers are there, let's go into full DFR. And maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's a year, so on and so forth. But it's happening. There's a lot of cities and towns that are moving aggressively towards this. The technology is there, the teams are there, the support is there. So it's happening.
Yeah.
So it's hard to put a date on it or a time frame, but
I agree.
It's happening.
And I think if anything, I've kind of just seen it and felt it here. And I think a big piece of this puzzle, not only Gabe and what Gabe has been kind of leading here in Tulsa, but also OK State and OARE and talking with James. What's in your words and understanding of kind of OARE's and OK State's involvement within this whole piece of the puzzle? Why does that continue to be such an important piece of this puzzle that's making Tulsa this evolving hub with robots?
Education is the key to a lot of things, and to have the schools and the universities involved with helping these agencies prove out these concepts has been vital. And why has it been vital? Because again, budget constraints, so on and so forth. There's things that go through a lot of red tape in cities and stuff like that that schools don't have to go through. So they're getting the gear, they're putting it in the hands of officers, they're doing proof of concepts, they're documenting it very well, because sometimes these universities have a little bit more time than an officer on the field. You take, for instance, Gabe Graveline here in Tulsa Fire. He does a lot of work on his own time, and that's how the drone programs have grown around here, as officers and firefighters doing a lot of work on their own time. You bring in the universities to support them and give them data points and give them workflows and give them the ability to share that information on the university's website or whatever. That is a huge, huge help to these guys that are doing a lot of stuff on their own time. Those days are getting, fewer and fewer, where you see a lot of guys spending a lot of time, because drone programs are being proven out all over the country, in the world. So less and less you need that, but it's still an amazing thing to have the help of universities to get through that.
Couldn't agree more. And kind of one of the two final questions. I know we've talked about the X10, we've talked about DFR, we've talked about OK State. What's something that you're within Skydio or the drone industry in general? What are you most excited about that's on the horizon within all things Skydio or the robotics market in general?
Yeah, I think for me, I spent my career here in the drone space working with. I started out with a Canadian company, Aviation Labs, out of Waterloo. They were acquired by FLIR, so I worked with FLIR for a while. I also worked with a company out of the UK, Evolve Dynamics, and now I'm with Skydio. And my thought process has been really to help drive, U.S. drone industry and keep it moving forward. And I think we're seeing that a lot. I think we're seeing a lot of efforts by a lot of people to really capitalize on getting manufacturers and software companies out there and get them integrated with each other so that we can move forward with a strong U.S. economy with drones that are supporting us, if it's delivery, if it's public safety, if it's infrastructure inspection. I believe that getting the U.S. Drone manufacturing industry moving forward is, and that's what's exciting me right now. It's really, really invigorating to see that we're moving, we're making strides forward, and I hope that the industry is looking to support that, so we can make a lot of moves in the near future.
Dude, that's awesome, man. Well, I'm excited to continue to watch it from far, but also be in the weeds here, like seeing some of the amazing work you're doing here in Tulsa. So just keep on doing it, man. Keep up the good work, and excited to see what's next for you and Skydio.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This has been great.
Yeah, thanks, man. Take care.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. What did you think? What did you learn? Hopefully something, right? Please reach out on social media with your thoughts on this episode and any other suggestions for future content. We look forward to capturing more important stories across public safety and are here at your service.